Doesn't show us in the section of minimum or can be a vision. You know, you show them. Yeah. Az űrnövésen az vagy már falat, legyen a lábára, célom a másik már falat. Szkádás, még lábára. Amelyek a főnösen nem akarok, hogy jásznak a kárnakra, is itt. Egyébként a végén a kájt, ha viszi csalva galatnak, kardozén bro. És mi rá, akkor Spara Nem, már olyan nagyon mellett is majd ad.
Amém. 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 Obrigado. Amém. 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 Ashikaya, today in Jewish history. I did this morning. I did so well. All right. Today in Jewish history, today is the yard site of the Rashash, Shalom Sharabi, who was a great Kabbalist, who wrote a lot of Kabbalah. There's a yeshiva in Israel today, Yeshiva of Shalom Sharabi, and Yeshiva of the Kabbalah, and they actually had a close relationship. The yeshiva there, a lot of what they did over there, they would correspond with the Rebbe, send people to the Rebbe to find out how they should deal with the yeshiva over there. Yeah. It's also the yard site of Rebbe Tzimifka. We discussed this morning. The Frierdiker Rebbe put out a mimer in honor of Rebbe Tzimifka, which was his grandmother's yard site, which was on Yud Shvat, which passed away in 1914. And the day that he put out the mimer for, the day was found up being his yard site. It was published in honor of Yud Shvat, and he passed away. So that was in 1914, was her yard site. She passed away in 1914. He prepared the mimer for Yud Shvat 1950, and that was the day that the Frierdiker Rebbe passed away. And of course, the day the Rebbe assumed leadership, the mantle of leadership. There's actually a discussion whether the official day the Rebbe assumed leadership is the 10th or the 11th, because the Farbrengen that the Rebbe had in 1951, the next year, was actually on the 11th. It was Yud Shvat at night. It was tonight, Farbrengen. And that's when the Rebbe officially took on the leadership, mantle of leadership. So people say it's the 11th the Rebbe took on mantle of leadership. Some people say no. The second, the previous Rebbe passed, Frierdiker Rebbe passed away. Automatically, the Rebbe became Rebbe at that time, not in 1951, but in 1950, Yud Shvat. Now, there's always a debate, in recent years there's been a debate, do we say Tachnun on Yud Shvat, we don't say Tachnun. I don't know. Not the professional. But based on whatever little I know, as far as I know, in on the yard site, in Chabad we do. It's not a reason not to say Tachnun. It's a special day. It's not a reason not to say Tachnun. Some people say no, not about the yard site of the Frierdiker Rebbe. So Taka in Borough Park in Williamsburg, they wouldn't say. Many shuls would not say Tachnun on Yud Shvat, because on the yard site of any tzaddik they don't say Tachnun. But in Chabad we do say Tachnun on yard site. So the irony is that at Chabad they won't say Tachnun because of Yud Shvat. In Chabad we do say Tachnun. Some will say no. Reason why we won't say Tachnun on Yud Shvat because it's the day there became Rebbe. So you wouldn't say Tachnun. It's a special day. I don't know what the answer is. Meantime, we said Tachnun. I didn't find it saying anywhere that we don't say Tachnun. Doesn't say it. Doesn't say it in the Luach that we don't say Tachnun. Huh? Doesn't say that we don't say that. Doesn't say anything. It just doesn't say anything about Tachnun. Usually the Rebbe writes there when say that. Okay, you can say it was published before Yud Shvat, but it was also published after Yud Shvat. It was never edited. The Luach also doesn't say, because it doesn't say it over there, it doesn't say it in the Luach. So we said Tachnun. Maybe it's the wrong thing, I don't know. But the little I know, try and follow. I would think so. That would be my way of thinking. And that's why I chose to say Tachnun over here. That's that. One of the things you're supposed to do in Yud Shvat is learn the mimer that the Rebbe published for Yud Shvat. It's a Frierdiker Rebbe published Yud Shvat. Frierdiker has the Rebbe published. And every year the Rebbe would say over the mimer, that same mimer, Basa Vegani, and the Rebbe would elaborate on one of the chapters. There's 20 chapters, and the Rebbe would elaborate on those 20 chapters. It happens to be that the Rebbe did it for 40 years, 20 years, each year another chapter, and then another set of 20 years. So we have two mimers on each one of those items, in each one of those chapters of the mimer. This year's chapter, 5783, would be the chapters of Tafshin Yud Gimel and Tafshin Mem Gimel, 1953 and 1983. No, 50. No. 83 was it? Whatever, chapter 13, sorry, chapter 13. So 1923 and 1950, 1970, okay, 13 years, 51, I can't think straight. 51, 61, 1963, sorry, 1963 and 1983. There we go. And the focus of that ice, what discusses is the fact that when Hashem takes us out of Mitzrayim, actually this week's parsha, we're called Tzivos Hashem. We're called the army of Hashem. Now, there's a special, says that normally there's an Eitzar. The king has Eitzars. The king has treasures. Those treasures are not touched. He doesn't touch those treasures. They're kept away in the safe. And he keeps those special treasures over there. Maybe once in a while he goes in and checks his diamonds and his rubies and he counts them. And he, for more information on what they do in the royal family, you can ask Harry. Thinking this Rosh Hashanah to make I think a lot of shows are going to, the sermons are going to be a here, not a spear. Something like that. Whatever. Anyway, so these Eitzers, these treasures, which he usually does not touch, if something crazy happens, he will touch them. For example, if he goes to war, he's gonna tap into whatever, like Putin. So he's going into whatever treasuries he has now to give everything he got to this war. That's the way a king works. He'll give everything he got because he doesn't want to be a loser.
Why he goes in work, he makes more money.
Putin's war makes more money. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe it was a wrong example. But he'll use whatever treasures he has in order to make sure he wins. And same thing Hashem, the Rebbe says that Hashem, so to speak, has these treasures. The Torah is called, the Gemara says that the Torah is called a treasure. As a chemda gnuza, a treasure, precious treasure that Hashem has from tachas kisei akavi, from underneath his throne, whatever that means, Hashem's throne, whatever that means, right? And Hashem is willing sometimes when he's, so to speak, when there's an emergency, when he's going to war, he's going to pull every single treasure, whatever it is, he's going to go into the storehouse of the treasure, he's going to go into that treasure chest, and he's going to spend whatever it takes. Now, who is Hashem's army? So in this week's parasha, we're called Tzivos Hashem. We're called the army of Hashem. And so the Rebbe tells us that Hashem goes in to his treasures. What is the treasure? Treasure is, we know this is the parable of Chassidus being called Hashem's treasure. The Kabbalistic secrets, the Pnimis HaTorah, the inner parts of Torah, the inner mention of Torah, those are the treasures. And Hashem takes those treasures, even though they were hidden for many years and they weren't revealed in the world. Hashem takes those treasures and he says, you know what? There's an emergency going on in the world. We're going to take those treasures, we're going to take those precious diamonds, and we're going to put them those deepest parts of Torah. And it's an emergency. It's a what's it called? We're in a state of emergency, and because we're in a state of emergency, we have to take those, right? We're going to put them out. And the famous parable given that the Rebbe gives for with the prince who was sick, and they told him that the only medicine that will help the child is taking the crown jewel, the main crown jewel in the king's crown, the main prize jewel that he has, and take it and turn it into medicine. And the king will obviously take that, even though it's such a prized jewel, he'll take it, he'll grind it up, and he'll put it in he'll feed it to the prince. And even though the prince might not eat it because it tastes disgusting, like any medicine, any child doesn't like the medicine, and he's going to take it and you put the medicine in the mouth and disgusting, he'll spit it out. Nevertheless, maybe a little bit will go inside, and the king is willing to take this precious jewel, which he doesn't do anything with. It's a crown jewel, and he'll risk it. He'll mash it up. He'll ruin that whole jewel. Mash it up, and he'll give a little bit. He'll give it to the child, just that maybe a little bit of medicine will go in. Maybe it'll spit it all out, but maybe a little bit will go in, and maybe we'll get better. All for a maybe. Same thing, Hashem, us, He takes these precious secrets of Torah, and He gives it to us, and mashing it up means He's refining it into edible bites, more suitable that we're able to understand, even though it's such a great, deep understanding, which is way beyond us. But maybe a little bit will go inside of us. Maybe a little bit of Torah will go inside of us, and He gives it to us. And do we treat it? Do we treat Torah nicely? Maybe yeah, maybe no. Maybe Nelson treats it nicely, but we don't do the way we should. But maybe a little bit will go in. Hashem says it's worth it. I'm going to take my oitza, I'm going to take my treasure, I'm going to put it. Maybe they'll take it. And this is the crux of the 13th chapter of the Maariv, where the Rebbe says that we have to learn from Hashem, and we have to realize what Hashem is doing. We have to understand what Hashem is doing, because we are Tzivos Hashem. We are the army of Hashem. Legions, right? Legions of Hashem. I think that's the translation he gives in the Maimar over. We are the legions of Hashem. We take it, and we have to realize, don't put it to waste. We have to understand it's our medicine. Don't let it go to waste. We have to use it. And if we use it, realize if we're using all the kaichas, all the strengths that we have, we'll surely bring down the Shekhinah, which that's the whole point, is to bring down the Shekhinah into the world. We'll be able to bring the Shekhinah into the world, and we'll be able to have coming to Mashiach Shem anyway. If anybody wants the actual explanation on chapter 13 of the Maimer, we have several copies floating around. Maimer, page 118. Remember, Yud Aleph tonight is also a special night. It's not just today, but also tonight is a special night, as that's when the Rebbe had the Farbrengen and officially accepting the amount of leadership of Yud Aleph. And unofficially, it was already Yud, or maybe even Yud Aleph Nissan. 1950 was the year that the Rebbe passed away. 1951 is when the Rebbe had the Farbrengen officially accepted. Married? Anybody want to know married? Nelson, you just voted in. Page 118, what happened?
Unanimous. I got it. It's as tonight we can do the whole inside.
Amen. 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 Amen.
Aminai Alayham Amas. Malchus Ebros and Kibu Alayham, Moshe Israel going to shoot a team for Rabba, Bamrakula. Mercy, like space at the Malchus of Robin of the Gay on the Eli on the Bamra. Never could go there and Tiago, the Gilliam, the men of Rokata, and the Dual, Israel.
Okay, what did you ask?
Or if it's in Vino, I have shown me after the Lord, October, Rokata, and then from Tommy Israel.
Amen.
Scala, Scala, Amen. Yasma for Gunner,
Amen.
I just want to make the show. Oh, it's my curry, be wrong.
I mean,
I was very last day, so Darby started talking to her.
Amen. Amen. So that's not a big guy. Is made of his various Amen. 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 Shmi Rabba Mabaraki Galam Amen. 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 Yashikaya. Different ringing. Different ringing. 8:30 is going to be at the ringing. Whoever wants to join. Whoever wants to learn the rest of the mimer. There's rings there. The Frierdiker have a story or a quote from each of the Rabbeim. That's what we're holding from this morning. Whoever wants to join us, we're going to learn right now.